Hello everyone and welcome back to the SteemTrail Gaming News. Today is the 13th March of 2018. My name is Kralizec and I will be your host for the evening. Today we got two stories for you guys. First, we're going to take a look at the video that is being used as fodder against the video produced by the White House as a call against video game violence. This one is all about video game beauty. And secondly, we're going to take a look at something important. We're going to take a look at the fact that researchers have discovered 13 high security risks in the AMD Ryzen CPUs. Man, that's a lot of bugs. But we are going to begin with the Games for Change video, which is trying to fight against Trump and is sort of pushback against violence video games and his claims that games do cause real life violence. The way it does it? By presenting the beauty of video games. So let's take a look at the video. So you can already see, I could actually put some sound for you guys. So you guys can see the video is just awesome. It showcases all the greatness of games. It showcases the fact that they can create inspiring imagery, insanely emotional moments. But the thing I think the video actually manages to convey the best is, yes, there is violence in video games. And that is even, I think it's a great move for them to have to showcase that there is violence in video games by one, I think was Link shooting the character or the giant, because it's not about violence itself. It's about being the hero. That's why we play video games. That's why we are violent video games, because sometimes violence, sadly, is the solution to problems. Sometimes there is a monster that has to be beaten. Sometimes it's just we don't say you have to beat the problem, you have to solve the problem just because. It's because there's a journey which includes you fighting back against your problems. And sometimes that will be purely intellectual. Sometimes it will be a discussion. Sometimes it will be physical. It is luckily and thankfully least needed these days to be physical. But that doesn't mean that there aren't situations for us to be physical. And we need to realize that if we completely abandon physical violence, it will not lead to utopia. It will not, because if you're completely a complete pacifist, what will you do if somebody attacks you? You'll just take it. Meaning, he will win. And you can say whatever you want. Getting beaten by somebody whose goal is to beat you is allowing them to win. And that's what heroes do. They stand up against unjust violence. And that is what the games teach us. Very often. There is somebody evil and he has to be defeated. And sometimes that has to be done through violence. Sadly. But it is the case. And I don't think we should ever forget that. Never ever should we forget that violence does have its place in our world. You need to remember, we are a hunter-gatherer species. We aren't purely a gatherer species. We hunt. And if we want to live, we need to acknowledge that part of ourselves. And if we want to live honestly with what we are, we need to acknowledge that even more. We need to acknowledge that we can be violent. The problem is not about violence. It's about how violence is actually being used. And video games do teach that violence is supposed to be used for good. They don't teach you that violence is just there to have fun. They don't teach you that violence should be used for your own personal gain. The vast majority of game is there to teach you that violence is there to battle evil. And please never forget that. Okay, let's move on from this, actually pretty serious topic to another serious topic. This one isn't necessarily all connected to games. This one is connected to all tech in general. So, an Israeli company, it's a security outfit named CTS Lab, discovered 13 high security bugs in Ryzen, EPYC, and Threadripper processors. There really isn't that much information about this at the moment. AMD issued a statement. We'll read that in a little bit. So the 13 flaws fall into 4 categories. I will make some assumptions about them. I understand that one of them is called Master Key. The other is Ryzen Fall. Then there's Fallout. And the last of all, there's Chimera. I think Chimera is the pronunciation. So as far as I know, an attacker could use the secure boot, install some malware into the BIOS, or even into the processor itself. Then there are a few manufacturer backdoors that could be eventually compromised. And CTS Labs are claiming that these vulnerabilities are very, very bad and they are very widespread. Obviously, AMD's statement is pretty vague. They don't really say anything. At the moment, they said, at AMD, security is a top priority and we are continually working to ensure the safety of our users and new risks arise. We are investigating this report, which we just received, to understand the methodology and the merit of the findings. So right now they didn't say anything. They didn't say, okay, we know about these bugs. We know that they can be used. We are trying to create fixes for them. They essentially just said, yeah, we're looking into it. That's literally all that says. And this is a huge deal because most of the tech industry is just still recovering from the whole Spectre and Meltdown thing. And there it was Intel who was affected. This time it's AMD, so it seems both parties are equally susceptible to attacks. And I was honestly planning on upgrading to an AMD CPU as the new Ryzen generation comes out. Now I'm at doubt. This pisses me off. I understand that any process which is as complex as CPU making or chipset making in general will necessarily entail flaws. But if the flaws are so deeply rooted into the hardware that it takes about a year for them to be discovered, and they pose such huge risks as CTS Labs are proposing, that's a big ass problem. And in the end, it really makes me sad and angry at the same time. So I'm hoping, I really am, that in the end it will be found like, yeah, so if you actually want to use these, you pretty much have to be a genius who is sitting directly at a computer with an electrical tool. But I'm going to guess that it's going to be more serious, and it will affect AMD in a pretty big way. And with that being said, that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please consider giving us a thumbs up here on YouTube and subscribing to the channel. If you are watching this on Steam, maybe you want to give us an upvote and follow the blog. Either way, be sure to leave a comment. Both topics deserve a comment today. Do you like the video? Do you support video games? In spite of all the recent shit that has been going around about them, more likely coming from the Republican side of things. And do you own an AMD CPU? Do you think these flaws are as big as CTS Labs are proposing? Do you think they could influence your next purchase of a CPU? Those are the questions I want to hear answers to. Also, be sure to tune in tomorrow for more gaming news. We are your source of daily gaming news every single day. So see you guys later with more gaming content.